All right, so it looks like there could be more serious change going on in Cleveland with the Browns, man. Todd Monken, Andrew Berry got some tough decisions to make. This is going to affect both sides of the ball because this is a really good player for this team. We got to get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated as well. We have to get right into things. This is courtesy of heavy.com, okay? And they're talking about this Grant Delpit situation. And Grant Delpit is due. He's up for an extension. And many people don't know if the Browns are going to do it or not, but it looks like the Browns may be.
The Cleveland Browns are currently standing on the edge of a cliff, and the people in charge, Andrew Berry and Todd Monken, are holding all the weight. Something is shifting in that locker room, and it's not the kind of change that fans are going to find easy to swallow. We're talking about a veteran player, a pillar of the defense, who might be looking at the exit sign sooner than anyone expected. If you thought the drama in Cleveland was over after the last few seasons of chaos, you were dead wrong. The cracks are starting to show, and it all starts with a massive $36 million question mark that's hanging over the entire organization. There's a specific kind of tension that happens when a player knows their worth, but the front office starts playing games with the numbers. Grant Delpit is that player. He's currently sitting on a 3-year, $36 million deal, but the reality behind those numbers is a lot uglier than the headlines suggest. He's in the final year of that contract, and word behind the scenes is that he's far from happy. Imagine being a top-tier safety, the guy who survived a ruptured Achilles and came back stronger, only to find out your team has pushed $16 million of your value into void years. No player likes going into a brutal NFL season without security, and at 27 years old, Delpit knows this is his prime. If the Browns don't move fast, they aren't just losing a safety, they're losing the soul of their secondary. But why the hesitation? Some insiders are suggesting the Browns are leaning toward an extension, but the when is much more important than the if. Mary Kay Cabot has been hinting that this could happen before training
about doing a job, and I really don't know 100% what they might, with 100% certainty what they might know, to be true or not. Do I think people are calling Andrew Berry, inquiring? Yes. Do I think the Browns are actively shopping Shedeur Sanders and are entertaining even the ideology of it? No, I don't at all. The second part of it, though, I think me and you are locking step on as well. This idea that Shedeur Sanders can't be a backup quarterback on the Cleveland Browns roster if he was not to win a starting job, I think is absolutely crazy because for me, they try to attach the reasoning behind something.
Camp, but every day that passes without a signature is a day that the locker room gets a little more toxic. You have to remember, this is a team that has already faced questions about Myles Garrett's future. You cannot afford to let key defensive pieces walk away when your offense is still a giant question mark. Denzel Ward and the rest of the crew need that stability, but money has a way of making people forget about loyalty. And if you think the defensive side is the only place where the fire is spreading, you haven't been paying attention to the quarterback room. There is a rumor circulating right now that sounds like absolute madness, yet it refuses to go away. People are talking about a potential trade involving Shedeur Sanders. Now, let's be clear, the media is calling this nonsense, but in the NFL, where there's smoke, there is almost always a back alley deal being discussed. The idea that the Browns would even entertain shopping a high-potential talent like him while Deshaun Watson is still struggling to regain his form is enough to make any fan's head spin. But look at the context. The quarterback competition in Cleveland is becoming a pressure cooker. Andrew Berry and Todd Monken are seeing night and day differences in the work ethic this offseason, but is it enough to save a sinking ship? The real problem isn't just the talent on the field, it's the shadow of the man under center. Deshaun Watson is now permanently associated with what many call the worst trade in the history of the sport. The fan base in Cleveland is exhausted. They look at Watson and they don't see a franchise savior, they see a mountain of controversial accusations and a contract that has handcuffed the team's future. This is why the Shedeur Sanders rumors have so much legs. He represents the unknown. He's the spark of hope that people can actually get excited about. If the Browns were to actually move him, they wouldn't just be trading a player, they'd be trading away the last bit of PR gold they have left. Think about it from a marketing perspective. The Browns are trying to sell a dream. They have a massive stadium project coming up in 2029, and you can't sell luxury suites and season tickets if the fans despise the face of the franchise. They need someone they can market, someone who hasn't been dragged through the mud for years. If you take the young, exciting talent out of the equation and leave the fans with nothing but a controversial veteran who...
I think that here it says that it's a matter of when they do an extension, not if. They think highly of him. They stuck by him through his ruptured Achilles as a rookie. You know, he played really, really good ball for them. I think he's got plenty of years left in the tank, and I think they will reflect that. He will get paid, maybe even before the season, maybe before training camp, but I think it's coming, and I think that he deserves it. So it looks like Grant Delpit is going to get his extension. This is a big thing, man. You already lost Miles.
Hasn't performed, you're basically throwing in the towel on the next 5 years of the franchise. Yet, there are people in the media who are practically begging for this trade to happen. They want the distraction to vanish, but at what cost? The social media backlash surrounding this team has reached a fever pitch. There's this strange narrative being pushed that some players simply can't handle being a backup or being in the spotlight in Cleveland. It's almost like the media is trying to bully certain players out of town to make their own lives easier. They talk about the internet world as if it's a burden, saying it would be easier if certain names just vanished from the roster entirely. But since when did we start making roster decisions based on who is easier to talk about on Twitter? It's a dangerous game of manipulation, and it's starting to impact the way these players see the city and the organization. The reality of the situation is that the Browns are trapped between two worlds. On one hand, they have a defense that is champion.
Team that, again, I know I keep bringing this up, they are thinking longer term about this team's future. They are thinking about keeping fans interested enough to get to the point where they're competitive again because they have a stadium to sell you in 2029. So, that stuff matters. They can't just throw in the towel on, the one good thing they have to sell at the quarterback position because, people are coming up with these rumors. I had no idea where this came from, and I have no idea where this idea that he can't be a backup if he doesn't win the job immediately came from either.
Yeah, that's the other part of this conversation.
Ready, led by guys like Delpit and Garrett. On the other, they have an offense that is a bloated, expensive mess. The Shedeur situation is just a symptom of a much larger disease. Whether it's Dorian Thompson-Robinson or a hypothetical trade, the fact remains that the Browns are terrified of a future where Watson isn't the guy. They've invested too much to admit they were wrong. So they'll keep trying to appease the veterans with late extensions, and they'll keep trying to quiet the rumors about the young guns. But the clock is ticking. You can only ignore a player's demand for security for so long before they start looking at other jerseys. If Grant Delpit doesn't get that extension before the first whistle of training camp, the narrative is going to shift from loyalty to betrayal very quickly. And if the rumors about shopping their young quarterback talent turn out to be true, the fans might finally do the one thing the Browns fear most: they might stop caring. In a city like Cleveland, that's the ultimate death sentence for a franchise. As we move closer to the season, the pressure on Andrew Berry is going to become unbearable. He has to balance the books, fix the locker room, and somehow convince a skeptical public that this team is heading in the right direction. But with every $36 million veteran who feels disrespected and every young star who is rumored to be on the block, that task gets harder. The Browns are trying to build a dynasty on a foundation of sand, and the tide is coming in fast. What happens next won't just define the 2024 season, it will determine if the Cleveland Browns even have a future worth watching by the time that new stadium opens its doors. In the end, this isn't just about football, it's about the survival of a brand. The shocking truth is that the front office might be more worried about their social media mentions than the actual win-loss column. They are desperate to keep the peace, but in the NFL, peace is a luxury that no one can afford for long. Whether it's a broken contract or a forbidden trade, the Cleveland locker room is a powder keg waiting for a match. And the people holding the matches are the very ones who are supposed to be putting out the fire. The question isn't whether change is coming to Cleveland, it's whether there will be anything left once the smoke finally clears. The decisions made in the next few weeks regarding Delpit and the quarterback room will echo for years. Are we watching the birth of a new era, or the final, desperate gasps of a front office that knows the end is near? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world is watching, and the Browns are running out of places to hide.